Alright guys, here's an example problem with a rectangular prism. Rectangular prisms and cubes have the same exact formula, so you can just use the same formula for this. All we do is we're adding, the surface area is just the sum of the area of all these faces of the rectangle, so the formula makes sense. It's saying you take, first let me label what's my length, my width, and my height. It doesn't really matter which is which because you will just get the same answer no matter what. I'm just going to say this is my length, this is my width, and that's my height, just because that's what makes sense to me. The height of the prism, the length of the prism, the width of the prism. So I'm just going to plug them in my formula. So I'm going to take 2 and I'm going to multiply it by my length and width. Okay, so my length is 13 and then my width is 7. Okay, so if I look at this, I'm just going to shade in the part that I'm multiplying. If I'm multiplying my length times my width, I'm finding the area of that bottom base. If I'm doubling that product, I am finding not only the area of my base, but also the area of the opposite side, because it has the same area, this top part, right? So the top and bottom are the same. That's why I multiply my length times width by 2. Okay, I'm gonna add them together because I'm gonna do it like vertically because I don't have enough room in my whiteboard. Next, I plug in 2 times length times height. So in this case, my length times my height. That's this bottom, oh wait, hold up. That's this bottom times this height right here. So that's 13 times 9. Okay, and then notice if I were to do the same thing and label and see what face it is, length times height is this like front face right there. It's hard to look at a two-dimensional thing. Now I'm going to ignore the bottom and I'm just going to shade the front of my figure. That's that front side right there, if that makes sense. And I'm doubling it because guess what? The front, the area of this front side is the same thing as the area of the back side because they're opposite of each other. They're exactly the same. That's why I multiply it by 2. And then lastly, I plugged in the area of the top and bottom, front and back. Now I just need the sides. So I'm just going to add the area of the sides. There are 2 of those sides. So I multiply 2 times the width and the height. So the width is W, which is 7, and then the height is 9. So if you guys notice, the width times the height of that rectangular prism is this face right over here, the sides. And I multiply them by 2 because there are 2 that have that same area. So this formula is just telling me I just need to find the area of each of those faces, okay, and add them all together. And that's it. So I'm going to plug them into my calculator. Okay, so I found the product of each of these, so now I'm just going to add them together, and I get 542 feet squared. And that's it. That's all there is to finding the surface area of a rectangular prism or any cube.